Welcome back to Hannity now. Everybody wants to know, where is the 29-year-old NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden? Now, he gave a powerful interview with a local newspaper, the South China Morning Post, and he said, quote, "I'm neither a traitor nor hero. I'm an American." He went on to say, quote, "People who think that I made a mistake in picking Hong Kong as location misunderstand my intentions. I am not here to hide from justice. I am here to reveal criminality." Now, let me tell you why this is important for a lot of reasons. For starters, law-abiding Americans are watching this story very closely, and they're asking, well, what else? Just how far is the administration delving into your personal life? Second, whistleblowers are an important part of our democracy. If the government is overstepping, don't we have a right to know? And then finally, if the Obama administration requests that Snowden be extradited back to the U.S., how will this ever impact future whistleblowers? Joining me now with reaction are two men who worked at the NSA for decades and who themselves blew the whistle on questionable practices at the agency. Kirk Wiebe and Bill Binney is with us. Guys, welcome back. Combined, you guys have 70 years experience. Am I right on that? Which one of you have 40? One of you has 40, one has 30.
I was close to that. 37 years I had.
All right, so we have almost 70 years experience between the two of you. All right, in your case, you worked, as I understand it, on a program called ThinThread that both of you believe could have prevented 9/11?
Yes.
Explain
that. Well, the point was it focused in on the real targets that you needed to analyze. It's not copying everybody, so you didn't get you weren't burdened by the bulk of all that collection. So what you did is you looked at, for example, we look at a terrorist and his communications into the United States. That would be a first degree. It was the 2-degree principle that we were using. Then you look at the contact in the United States and the people he communicated with. That was the 2-degree principle. That's your zone of suspicion. And then you also look at jihadi sites and who's using or who's looking at those jihadi sites over and over again. That also gets into the zone of suspicion. Yeah. The rest of the population you ignore because they're not relevant to doing the the terrorist program.
And you guys,
and I don't know of a terrorist yet that hasn't fit into those two categories of activity.
That's interesting. Now, Kirk, let me ask you, because this is a revolutionary information processing system, and you called it ThinThread. You could have done all of these things without going after every American and their private information?
Absolutely. It's a crawl into what is called the graph, the relationships that are out there between all human beings on Earth. You don't need all the contacts of those human beings, but you need to be able to crawl to them as the court allows and as you present evidence.
All right. Now, the controversy with both of you arose from the fact that they decided against using your software system for a system called Trailblazer that costs billions of dollars more. Bill, why?
You mean why did they do it?
Yeah.
It was a question of economics. They wanted to have a lot of budget. They wanted to raise their budget and spend a lot of money. We threatened that. I mean, we only spent $3,200,000 to develop that program, which solved the volume, velocity, variety problem in the internet and the worldwide communications systems. And that didn't provide too much in the way of funding for the contractors that they wanted to support.
So you believe the system that they spent billions of more dollars on failed and was not as good as your program that they could have had because you worked for them for basically nothing, right?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Wow. And yours would have prevented 9/11 in your view?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Because what we were doing, we were adding attributes of all of the targets. That means the terrorist phone numbers, the email address, all that knowledge that was there, we were adding. And so we would write rules that simply said if our system came across it, it would alert everybody that needs to know, at the FBI, inside NSA, CIA, whatever. Yeah. And it would be done electronically by the rules, which means that once they got that data, it would have been known by everybody, or at least in their queue to read, within 20 milliseconds, a fraction of a second.
Yeah. And this resulted
I'm sorry. But also, Sean, it would be looking at, for example, the 2 terrorists who came out of Kuala Lumpur into the United States that later participated in 9/11. Those people were known. And so if our system were deployed, their names coming in on lists of people flying into the United States would have alerted immediately.
Yeah, so Kirk,
so they would have been,
go ahead.
You know, that would have alerted the FBI immediately. Terrorists were coming into the country.
So it then became untenable, Kirk, for both of you to continue working at the agency. Relate that to what this guy Snowden is going through. Do you have any opinion? Is he a hero? Is he a traitor? People trying to ascertain that?
Well, sure. Look at what happened to us. We tried to, we got out of the agency in October of 2001, and one of the first things we did, with the help of Diane Rourke, a senior staffer on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, was to approach the HPSI in Congress with the fact that we had what I would call gross mismanagement and funding of a program that had little chance of success. And that failed. That overture failed abruptly. So then we decided to file an Inspector General's report in 2002. That investigation went on for about 2.5 years, and the results of that were redacted to the extent that you really can't read anything as a result. In other words, it was covered up. So when you whistleblow officially through channels in the intelligence community, you come to dead ends and nothing happens. And I'm sure Snowden watched that happen to us.
So in other words, you feel this is the only way he could have gotten out his story?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Guys, thank you both. Very revealing. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, we have breaking